So a very big warm welcome to everyone, and we have our maintainer of hopscotch here. So I'm pretty sure everyone might have heard about this story about like hopscotch being a open source company, and so now we are trying to break into the story and how this guy landed his own open source project and get this much amount of traction with his own open source company. So a very warm welcome to Liyas, to our co-host. Uh,
Yeah,
so,
thank you,
uh,
Abdul.
so I'd like to ask, what was the motivation behind starting with Hope Coach and all
Abhijit.
what was
Uh, I'll demo hopscotch for anyone who doesn't know it. If someone doesn't know, yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely do that. So I will actually give an introduction about the project itself and later give a demo. So Hopscotch is actually a developer tool, plain and simple. It's actually a API testing tool, and you can test, save, share, collaborate with your teammates. Basically, every life cycle of an API developer. And the project actually started as a side project in 2019. I mean, it's a personal tool that I built for myself, for my work stuff places and all. And just like my all other projects, all other tools, I open sourced the first MVP of Hopscotch as well. So that was actually the I mean how it turned out to be such a project for open source. But again, the motivation is something very similar to almost all other how open source projects became like there was a very popular tool, very popular open source, sorry, not open source, very popular API testing tool called Postman, which is actually I mean, somewhere around like $8 billion plus valued company. And so the story is really cool. I was working at a very early stage startup in Cochin, and it's a very super early stage startup. We don't have a lot of workstations, and also I had to physically bring my personal workstation to the workplace to work on that startup. So it was that much pathetic. But anyways, I managed to do that. But one particular day, I was told to test somewhere between 100 to 120 plus API endpoints manually, and to hit every endpoint, record its response, figure out if there anything else. I mean, if there is any errors with that response, it's actually a very hectic task, and most of it's a very repetitive task as well. So I actually tried downloading that so-called tool Postman, and my 10-year-old PC couldn't afford to run it, and it literally just crashed my system, and I ended up with the blue screen of death. I mean, this actually happened in like 30 minutes, and I was so frustrated that I mean, at the end of the day, if I couldn't complete my assigned task, I might get fired because that was my first ever tech job. I had just graduated at that period of time, and out of that pure frustration, I quickly made a web app which allows you to send API requests directly from the browser window itself. So in that way, it won't consume a lot of your CPU or RAM or any resources with the client system. So it's basically a web app. I mean, I can actually show you the first ever MVP of Hopscotch, and I will show you a demo of the current project as well. Just hold on. I'm just picking the demo. Uh, yeah. Hope you won't mind if I share the screen.
Oh, no worries.
Okay,
no,
cool.
no worries, no worries.
Yeah, cool, 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 cool. So I had to actually check it out. Which one is it? Yeah, this is it. Yeah. So this actually happened in 2019, August 21, and this is I hope you all can see my screen. This is exactly the first ever MVP of Hopscotch. And guess what? It actually gets the job done. You can, mention the API request method. You can put in a API endpoint. If you have a separate path, you can add that as well. And just click on send, and you will get the response. So as you can see, this is very much unpolished. This is only the MVP, which I actually launched within like 2 to 3 hours. I mean, it's all I took to make such a very working prototype of the Hopscotch application. So let me check. I mean, let me show you the current Hopscotch application. So let me just do another vibrant color so it makes sense to see. So this is the current Hopscotch version. I would love to give a demo of it. And as you can see, we have a lot of exciting features that kept on adding in the last 2 years. So the UI is very polished, and obviously you can have a request method. So let's stick to get because it's pretty common. Uh,
Is it something like
I'm actually
Postman?
having in.
Hopscotch?
Uh,
Sorry.
oh, okay. Were you telling something, or shall I
Yeah.
continue?
Sorry. Was this something like Postman?
Yeah. So I was actually talking about how I made Hopscotch, which is actually an open source alternative to Postman or Insomnia or any other API testing platforms out there. Yeah, this is very similar to Postman, and we are literally trying to become the one stop for everything related to API testing and building. I mean, we can talk about it in the last QA session, but I will just continue with the demo part. But again, it's pretty much easy to get started with the UI. It's pretty self-explanation. So if you send request, you get the response. This is the most simplest usage of an API testing tool. But with that, we have a lot of other features such as you can see the history that you have made in the sidebar. You can save and store your APIs in collections, and this can be shared among your teammates. So if you uh, sign in with either Google or GitHub or with your email address, you can save your collections and your teammates can access them. So the team collaboration feature is actually a beta. I mean, it's actually in beta stage. We are internally testing it out with our closed beta group. But again, once you sign in with, either any of the auth providers, everything such as history collections and environments will be synced to the cloud so that you can access them from almost any other device which basically has an internet connection. I mean, even from your mobile phone as well. So yeah, these are some of the very basic usage of hopscotch. But so as you can see, the homepage is basically catered for REST APIs, API endpoints, but we do support some other protocols as well, out of which we have GraphQL. You can connect to GraphQL endpoint, and again, you have history collections and normal all other features from the REST APIs, but you can get the documentations from the GraphQL schema. You can even see the row schema as well. But you can send queries, you can add variables, you can set headers. Almost every feature to test GraphQL endpoints. We do support some other protocols as well, such as WebSocket, server-side events, and Socket.io and all. So I guess everyone should try out Hostcoach.io and give your feedbacks, how it felt, how about the developer experience and all. And just let me know if there is anything that can be improved. And the thing is, this is the MVP, and this is something that looks at the moment. So the 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 last close line is the MVP doesn't matter. You just have to keep on building. That's all.
How long did it take from the MVP to the current
Uh,
current state?
yeah. So there are actually some parameters that I would like to stress about, which is the Hopscotch project is actually actually my first ever Vue.js project. I mean, I actually chose a framework called Vue.js, which is actually quite popular at those times, uh, to learn the framework as well. So it's almost been 2 years since the MVP launched, since it pushed into point. 2 years to me. Yep. And that's how it started.
Hey, so it's a pretty interesting and inspiring story. I mean, like when you speak about, your machine crashed and then that actually motivated you to start this open source, right? Like, I mean, that's how many of the open source projects start, and that's a very interesting, story here. So that brings me to my another question. So how did you start with programming? How did you end up in this, the specific stack that you're working on?
Uh, I would say my story is nothing, very drastically different from almost everyone else. Like it's a very typical story. I came to know about all the programming stuff, how the internet works, how you can build softwares from my
Uh, Liyas, your network
professional
line.
degree of programming. I would say I only started up, in when I actually joined college. So, from my fresher year, year two, the 4 year engineering college time. That's when I actually dealt with real programming languages, and even I started open source is somewhere around my college days. Yeah.
So how did you start from your programming journey to putting things in open source? Like that must be something that pushed you there, right? So what was that?
Yeah, so got it. So, I mean, in early days of my career, I actually started with Java core language, and mostly building Android applications just for the fun of it. But later, I actually realized that if you are in the tech space, if you don't know the latest stuff, latest frameworks, you might get out of fashion, or out of skills, if you think about the future that's going to happen like 5 or 8 years down the line. So after realizing the need for need to learn the latest stuff, when I was at college, we actually made a tool. It is actually called Feedy. So it's actually a very handy application that can be used in colleges and universities. So what it actually does is, it's actually a feedback tool. Like at my college, there was a process where students give feedback to their faculties, and this is something almost every college in India has. But the process is pretty much pen and paper. Like, students write the teacher's name, they put grades or like stars, some kind of ratings, and at the end of the day, they compile and uh, you know gives the gives a pretty much score for teachers. So us, I mean me and few of my friends from our class, we decided to make an application that would, I mean, it's just a web application that would allow students to log in, and they basically have to just give scores to their respective faculties. There is no need to sort. There is no need for finding your faculties. Are we actually automated a lot of steps, and eventually came up with a tool called Feedy. So this is actually the first ever open source project that I have contributed to. I mean, that even though I created it, but this actually happened in the second year of college. So this is somewhere in 2016. But again, this really gave us a lot of confidence on how you can build products, software products that can make a change in a very widespread area. Like even though we started the project in our college, by the end of that year, we have seen more than 20 plus colleges using the same application internally in their colleges. So we realize it's actually helps us to battle test the code and many more additions from the fellow colleges and students. So yeah, that's how I ended up contributing to more and more open source projects. Yeah. Uh, Actually, Abhijit is kind of stuck.
Classic Abhijit.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah. I can
Yeah,
continue.
please, please,
Right.
please.
This, I think this is the most fun question because it was initially called Postwoman, right? As an
Yep.
alternative to Postman, and right now it's Hopscotch. So was there any controversy associated with having it named as Postwoman, and what was the reason you changed it into like the current name?
Actually, yes. So as I mentioned uh, in the first few minutes, the project actually started because of the frustration that I had with Postman, and it really made sense to me at that particular hour. That how about I make a knock on the name Postman and come up with something very similar so that users can actually resonate with the tool, what it is meaning, how it even got this name, and also I shamelessly converted that Postman to the Postwoman name and launched it on GitHub. So yes, that was the exact name for the first MVP. So this actually happened in August 2019, and in our anniversary year, so in August 2020, we actually started to think about, like, I mean, at those period we had somewhere like 18,000 plus GitHub stars, somewhere around 15,000 monthly users, 150,000 plus all-time users, and also the the analytics were going crazy. I mean, I haven't seen any other project, either open source or closed source project, getting this much of attention in this lesser span of time. So the internal team, including me, we really wanted to know. I mean, it's kind of like a question that we ask ourselves: are we getting all this popularity because of the similarity in this name, or is there any value proposition that we actually give to our users? So this kind of like haunted us all, and when this topic actually getting started seriously within our internal team, we actually got a mail from Postman, the very own Postman Incorporated company, saying that they might sue us if we keep on using the name Postman. So I was again, pretty much shocked, because a company that has been somewhere around valued at those times $2 or $3 billion is kind of like bulldozing a project that has been started one guy, and we had somewhere around like 30 or 60 plus contributors from around the world, and they really wanted to see the project ended, and that kind of like gives me this confidence to keep on building that project even though we rebranded to Hopscotch. And after 1 year, we have seen more than 3 times of increased engagement, and the project is going good. I mean, everybody loves the rebranded product. We actually sold the assets, uh, you know, uh, regarding the posthuman name, the logo, those kind of stuff, even the postman.io domain, which is something that actually, someone from the community donated me. We actually sold this entire posthuman branding to Postman for a marginally feeling good amount at those times. And but again, this kind of like gives me this boost that they want the project to be stopped, and they are willing to pay for this. So I knew that there is something that kind of like strengthens them, and we just keep on building it. And it's almost been 6 months since I switched from my full time job to work on hopscotch full time. Yeah, that's a funny story, by the way. I mean, it's a crazy story, something that should not happen for any other open source projects, but yeah, it happened.
Actually, this is my favorite story from you. You know, like I have heard this multiple times from you, but hearing it every time, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a crazy stuff, man. I mean, if I mean, guess what? If one day Amazon or Kubernetes or any another closed source or any service came up with a shipping notice to Nest.js or Next.js or any other open source project, what are they going to do? They can have to either. I mean, just think about it. We have frameworks called Nest.js, Next.js, Nest.js. Like it's kind of like a hell if you take names of all the JavaScript frameworks out there, and
Yeah, it's not a good look for a
I don't
postman
see a
to like
competition.
threaten legal action over that.
It's a sad
I didn't get
truth,
you,
but
Jack. Can
yeah.
you repeat that?
Not a good look for postman.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
that's true. Not a good look at all.
And most of the frameworks are open source, so they probably won't sue each other over it, right?
yeah.
Yeah, especially the open source community, right? Like, you don't want them on your bad side. So,
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, I don't know if it's true for all other open source projects. Most of the projects does not actually have a legal entity associated to it. Like they don't keep a trademark or a
They
contract
most of
of.
them have that like MIT license or something, right?
Yeah, obviously, most of the projects has a very less permissive license, either MIT or even a GFPL, those kind of stuff. But licensing won't help you guys to actually protect the source code. I mean, I have seen projects, I mean, not just open source projects, but even private projects, taking the exact copy of the source code and rebranding to something else. And, they are actually winning the market. I have seen it in real time. So, yeah, that's, I mean, it's a sad reality, but it's actually like, something that really happens in the tech industry. Yeah.
So, Liyas, so when you rebranded the name, like say
Mhm.
from Postwoman to Hopscotch, you said it didn't affect the outreach, right? Like, so how much so how did you like plan on getting more outreach, and how do you escalate to this level? Like, it's not just a name and not just
Yep.
right? So
Got it.
tell us
Got it.
about it.
So actually, if you consider an open source project, changes such as rebranding or change to a license to a more more restrictive one, these are the steps that need to be taken very seriously, because that might actually affect the future of your project. Because we have seen, projects that were in MIT license, but eventually they changed to a pretty much restrictive license, and we have seen projects going downhill. So we were really pretty much cautious about this. So there are some things that we intentionally did to make it I mean pretty much healthy for both parties, like both for Postman and for Hostcast. So one thing that we did is we actually kind of did not disclose that we are changing the brand, just because there is actually a suing notice in our door. But we actually, I mean, even though it wasn't legally applicable to us at that period of time, we actually made it in a way that the internal team really wanted to change the brand, change the name, and we even asked for the community to come up with a name. So the name Hopscotch is not something that I personally given to the project. This term has been contributed by the community, and especially, I mean, there is this guy called Ben Harper. He is the co-founder and CEO of Dev2 platform, and he's the guy who coined this term hopscotch in a comment section of the post that I wrote on dev.to, asking for some alternative names for the project. So we made it in a way that uh, we actually changed the branding to a new project, and obviously GitHub to help us a lot. Like the old domains can be redirected to the new one. We had a clause in our agreement that says that posthuman.io should display a page that states this has been moved to hopscotch with its link. So I mean, these are some tiny steps that we actually implemented to decrease the effect of changing the name. And it actually worked. I mean, with tech, it's all possible. You can redirect without even noticing the user. So it kind of went fine. And the engagement has been, like as I said, it has been shown more than 3 times better when it was post-human. But we even got some comments on why it's been changed, and some guys who did not like the the later name. But it's all good if you have a good product. But,
So,
Yeah, people always hate name changes.
sorry,
People always hate name changes.
I actually can't hear you.
Uh, Sorry.
Okay, I'm getting
That
my
said,
some sound.
everyone hates name changes.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a confusing stuff if you look from the user's point of view. One day it's costume, and the next day when you refresh, it's hopscotch. So yeah, I agree on that part. But it's something that we had to do, and there were no other plans. Sorry for that. Yes, yes, yes. I mean, okay, so if you look at the community aspect of the project, you can actually see we have been pretty much very live with the community engagement and all, and this obviously helped us to reduce the friction, so that we can freely take decisions as serious as changing the name, changing the domain, and basically refactoring our somewhere like 18,000 lines of code to another stack in 2 or 3 days. So these are the steps that we have done just because the community allowed us to do it. Like it's not a one man task, it's not a one man show. We have actual community members from China, from Singapore, from US. They actually literally spend like 2 or 3 hours with me, with our code team, on taking decisions, what features to be implemented, sorting the priority list, those kind of stuff. So yeah, and if you even think about it, it actually makes sense if your product actually has a value proposition or something that exists at the moment, and and if it's open source, which has a better licensing, and it's less restrictive, there will be obviously a lot of guys who will contribute to a project, and you can leverage that part. I mean, I have seen companies taking open source and go to market strategy, even though it's been true for hopscotch. It was not just a go to market strategy for us. Like, we are the guys. I mean, the community actually built the product, the community driven product. Yeah. Yeah. It started as on-site. Uh, Actually, yes. I mean, I can't agree on no, the community engagement happen naturally. There are several steps that I and our team did intentionally. I can talk about it. But okay, so what are the steps that we intentionally did to capture the attention from the community? Well, first of all, uh, okay, so we actually made the project in MIT license just because we never wanted the users or a potential contributor to have double-minded opinions on if I contribute to this project, whether it will affect my any other legal entity. So I mean, if it's an MIT projects, you are free to do anything with it. You can fork it, you can remix it, you can redistribute it. You can make any changes to the source code without any implicit, uh, you know, permission from the core maintainer. So we actually set the license to MIT project that gives this freedom. And the next thing that we did is something very important. We made it very, very easy for anybody to contribute to the project. So what this resulted in is something very cool, because we have seen developers contributing to a project with 2 or 3 lines change. Like it's maybe a readme change, it's maybe a translation update, but I mean, at the end of the day, what it actually projects is that this is a friendly project. Anyone can contribute to it. They started sharing it with their peers, and out of which there are senior level engineers, a lot of experienced programmers, and also they find about some bugs that really existed on the project, and they, even though reported it to the core members, they started patching it. And basically almost every process of the product building has the active participation from the community. So, and again, if okay, so I used to write a lot about hopscotch, because when I started the tech career, I had somewhere like 100 or 200 followers on dev.to platform, which is a blogging platform for developers especially. But at the moment, I have like 11,000 plus followers on Dev.to, just because I started writing about hopscotch and my other open source contribution. So what I actually believe is, if you keep on documenting the process of building a product, it will actually inspire others to not just contribute to the project, not just watch the project, follow its updates and all, but also it gives them a degree of confidence, so that they can actually start building such tools. I tell everyone that if you find about some tool that kind of lacking a feature that you wish it is good if it existed, you have to come up with a solution that will fix that issue, or a feature that you wish that there was. And obviously you can actually find a community or a pool of guys who really wanted that project. And hopscotch somehow happened to be one of them. Like, I was so lucky to find a group of guys who really wanted such an alternative, and it kind of like worked out. That's all. I mean, that's the only logical explanation I can come up with. I mean, I even tried changing the name. It's not because of the similarity in that name. I even tried redesigning the project more than 2 or 3 times. It's not about the UI stuff, the how easy it is, but it's all because of the utility that we provide. That's all. And an open source. Yeah, and
This is the most inspiring thing that I came across this week, because you thought about the documenting every part of the process, right?
yep,
Actually, yeah, like that's a great insight. I need to even we all need to improve on that. I think.
yeah, that's a really incentive. I mean, if you look back how you come up with this hopscotch name, I mean, okay, so the best part of documenting all the stuff related to a product is that you can actually just read your documentation after a year or two, and make another product without repeating the same mistakes that you have already did while building that past company, or a product or an open source project, anything that you have been doing. So yeah, reading helps, writing helps, documenting your mistakes helps, documenting your success just helps, and all over, all together, it gives you this confidence to build stuff. That's all.
Great, actually,
So,
yeah,
Abhijit, should we
yeah,
slowly transition into the QA, because we might be
yeah,
running out of time?
I have one more question. So this is kind of a big question from my end. So what is the current business model that Hopscotch is following? We'd like to get to know about that. And
Yeah. Okay, so at the moment we have a beta phase. I mean, it's a beta staging version of the hopscotch. So let's just call it hopscotch enterprise if you want it, because this is something that is really tailored for enterprise level use cases. Like if you look at the hopscotch app, couple of months ago, you can actually see it is not an enterprise level application. It's more like an indie tool. We had alien heads, UFO flying around. It was really an indie tool at those period of time. But if you really want to take a product to a company and build a company around it, and have customers who are willing to pay for your service, you have to think at scale. And the success looks totally different at scale. Like as an open source project, obviously hopscotch is a successful open source project. But as a SaaS or a software that can be monetized, this is something that you have to literally find about by building an enterprise version of hopscotch. So we have a set of features including team collaboration, SSO, basically some enterprise level use cases. This is not something that actually affects with a single user or a team of 3 or 5, but for a team of more than 50 or 100 or 1,000 members, there are some essential features that you have to be make sure in a developer tool. So this hopscotch enterprise will be the uh, you know first ever iteration of hopscotch, which has the business model, which has the paid plan that will give users lot more features, lot more accessibility, and some interesting integrations as well. Like we can have, I mean, we can basically connect to a GitHub account, run automated tests on every deployment. uh you know basically everything that affects every life cycle of API development, right from designing the APIs, like even when engineers start to think about APIs, but not just that, even the documentation. But you guys can, I mean, engineers can generate automated documentation from API schema in real time, deploy to hopscotch. It's there for, I mean, it will be there in the public for the general users to consume, those kind of stuff that comes with enterprise, hopscotch enterprise, down the line in maybe like 2 or 3 months. Don't know.
damn, you're on a high track, man. Like you're definitely an inspiration to all of us.
Actually, I mean, the funny thing is, I actually think about it like, how come a guy from Kerala, in a very small town like Thrissur, how can you get to know about all this stuff happening in the tech world, and how someone like me, who are actually sitting at the home, can can have a dream about building a company, raising somewhere around $3 million for the seed round, and those kinds of. How is it even possible? Like the again, one logical explanation is that first thing, you have to be pretty much lucky. I mean, I don't want to rule out the luck factor here, because I was so lucky that I got into this super elite startup, so that I have to literally test. I mean, if you are in a startup ecosystem, you should deal with everything related to the product. Like it's not just engineering or writing code. You have to deal with support. You have to deal with almost every process, marketing, sales, and also that kind of like gives a skill boost to me as a person, and it really helped in my career. But soon after that, I was so privileged to work with a lot of folks from interesting startups like Stripe, PayPal, and all, because my second company, Buy Me Coffee, which is actually a YC funded company, is actually a creator economy, and it's a fintech company. But I was again, pretty much privileged to work with a lot of them. But this is the luck factor that really helped me to, ship all these good things. That's
Thanks, man. Thanks a lot for sharing all of your great insights. So I think others also will have some amazing questions. So can we any QA
Yeah,
from anyone?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Any questions from anyone? Yeah. Bharat, you want to ask something?
You're mute, Bharat. You might be mute. Oh, maybe just drop a question on the text.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you. Thank you, brother. Yeah.
Awesome. So, any other questions, folks?
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
In terms of the business side in your company, what would be the biggest hurdle, except for the naming problem? Except for that, what was the biggest hurdle that your company had experienced, and how did you tackle it? Uh, yeah.
Got it. So, well, being an open source project, there are a lot of threads from the day one onwards. Like, if you have a close team of like 3 or 5 members, it's quite easy to tackle that situation. I mean, pretty much any situations if you have a hierarchy in the company. But if you're talking about an open source project, and if your project is somewhere scaled to like 31,000 star project, or like some contributors that like 140 plus contributors, it's not an easy task. So I would say the greatest challenge being an open source maintainer at Hopscotch is making a priority list on what need to be implemented next. Like, we literally get more than 50 plus feature requests or issues. I mean, feature requests as issue tickets in our public forums, our Discord server, our Telegram group, GitHub issues, and also. And this is not something that's humanly possible to implement every features, or every feature requested from the community, because we are saving more than 21,000 plus custom users per month, right? So filtering through those, finding about which needs to be implemented by the end of this month, or by the end of next 6 months, by end of this year, is I would say one of the hardest things about an open source project, because there will be always some group of guys who keep on asking, Where is this feature? I asked this feature 2 years back and you guys haven't made it." And it's kind of like a sad reality. Almost every open source project has this, but again, in specifically in case of Hopscotch, there is also one important challenge, which is the technical aspect. Like, if your product, I mean, if it's an API testing platform, and if it's a native client, I mean, native application, separate binary builds for different operating systems, it would be very easy to accomplish a lot of stuff. You won't be needing a proxy server to tunnel course restricted API endpoints. So there is this part, especially in Hopscotch, the technical aspect of the space that we are dealing with, which kind of makes developing a web application which has all these features quite tough. But obviously we have a community, we are not just 3 or 5 heads, we have like 200 or 300 heads thinking about the same thing over a week, coming up with not just one or two solutions, like a dozen of solutions. Then again, the topmost core team will think about what's the best solution. We will again ask the community how to implement this. Then again, we have a lot of other inputs. So obviously there is this one part which this is totally very good for the community, but at the same time it's a time consuming process. You cannot expect an ETA of a particular feature and we basically can't even say it will be launched in 2 months or 2 weeks. Maybe we can do that, but it will again affects our quality. So these two steps are the most challenging part.
Thank you very much. That's been very insightful. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, sure. Ask. Okay, so this is a very interesting question. So obviously the Hacktober festival is around the corner. It's happening in like 2 weeks. I mean 1.5 weeks. So if you look at hopscotch issues, there are somewhere around like 500 plus issues, or somewhere around 1,000 issues that has been closed. So this is an interesting stuff. Like if you take any such popular open source tool, you can actually find there are maybe, let's say, somewhere around 500 open issues which hasn't been replied by the contributors or so. But we really wanted to see or figure out all the issues that has been raised from our community, and we kind of very successful in that. So I mean, which why we have very less open issues. Like it's somewhere around 34 open issues, I guess, at the moment. And if you, I mean, if you are a beginner to hopscotch stack, we actually use Next, Vue.js, and a mix of Tailwind plus CS, SCSS in the front end, and on the back end, all our APIs are in GraphQL. We use Nest.js for the backend framework. And so how can we contribute to the hopscotch with less, or with our current technology? Well, the first thing is obviously look at the issues that are currently open, and you don't have to basically implement the entire feature. If obviously every issue has two parts. One is the front end part, where the user facing side, if you are interested in the front end part or designing, you can make a branch. You can make a make a UI part of the solution that you wish would be better for the project. If it's a workflow glitch or some feature that hasn't been implemented, you can do that once way. So again, this is something that we really want to come from the community. Like we want someone from India contributing to a feature, and we want someone from Singapore or China contributing to that same feature. And we have done this many more times. It's pretty easy, I guess. You can contribute to your strongest point. If it's designing, you can do that. You guys are pretty much open for it. If it's testing, so if you come up with a new component, obviously someone has to write test. You don't have to do that. There is very active community out there. You can ping the core contributors so that we can either assign one of our contributors to write the test. You don't have to do that. And the backend part or the logic part can be done by either from our core contributors, or obviously there will be someone who are interested in it. So this again, makes the whole contributing to hopscotch very easily. Like you don't have to do all the works. You can be a part of a very big feature, or you can even, if you have the expertise in that particular stack, build the entire feature request. Or it's totally up to you. But do ping us, do ping me personally, we will figure it out. I mean, it's pretty easy if you think about it. Like if you take a project like Webpack also, you have to basically do the entire process. Like there will be at least 120 plus test cases. You have to write tests, you have to make the UI component, you have to do the logic part, and make a pull request. Obviously, this might take 1 month, but you can do that at hopscotch in 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks if you only concentrate on the one part. Ship good code, that's all. Yeah. And this really helped us to gain a lot of incentives from the community as well. So it's like a tip that I give. Yeah. I mean, as I said, the Vue.js, I mean, Hopscotch is literally my first ever project in the stack. I learned everything about Vue.js while building the Hopscotch app. So there is no one who is totally newbie in this stack other than me, other than the founder of myself. So yeah, it's plain and that simple. I used to be a React person. Yeah. But now I kind of like switch fully to this stack. That's all. I mean, it's just a learning process. Yeah.
Bharat, just wanted to say you're an inspiration, Liyas.
Yeah. I mean, this is something that I haven't got while starting over this career. I mean, nobody told me to work on it without any give you any single penny unless there is a value to your product. Like so, one thing that I really want to mention is that when the project started to getting all this attention from the entire community, tech community, we got more than somewhere around 20 plus sponsors to the project. And if you look at the sponsors, it's really crazy because COO of GitHub, founder of Ionic, founder of Strappy, and the entire sponsor list of Hopscotch basically had the top 10 or 20 developer tools or its founders or its CTOs. So I mean, I can't think of any other project or if I mean I don't know. I mean, this is maybe because of me, but this is again one of the steps that you know kept us building the steps even though there was no external motivation to build it in the first place. By the way, I really want to hear the second question from that. I kind of like missed in the in between. Yeah. So actually, yes. So if you look at the uh, fork of Hopscotch, I mean, being an admin, I can actually see who is forking the Hopscotch app, who is later forking from a fork. We actually have more than somewhere around 8,000 to 10,000 forks per week. I mean, GitHub shows per week usage, per 2 weeks usage. So that literally means on any Monday morning or a Wednesday night, anyone can come up with an alternative to Hopscotch. But this is not just about Hopscotch. Like any proprietary services or any open source projects out there can can have an alternative if you just having a coffee in a Monday morning. This is totally possible. This is actually doable if you have an interesting team and a frustrated user. So this is something that have been proved. But the thing is, well, you know, I have seen companies that has a very good product which has been open sourced, and one day some guys from Ukraine or Singapore fork the code, rebranded to something else. I mean, it's all possible. You just have to find and replace some steps, and again, it's a totally new product. And they launched on Product Hunt or any such marketplace, and they get this this traction more than the first product that they shipped. I mean, that they forked in the first place. But the thing is, I mean, for Hopscotch, if you talk about Hopscotch, the value proposition is not the source code. I mean, if your product uh, value really relies on the source code, then I would say you should not make it as an open source project. I mean, if the source code is something that you all has to offer, never ever make it as an open source project, because once you did, someone from any countries just made a fork. It is being indexed by Internet Archive and all. There is no turning back. Anyone can find your source code and make a copy of it. But I mean, just think about it. Every software can be divided to two. One, where the source code is the main thing. Consider Google. What if Google is an open source project? Nobody's gonna use it. Only successful because the searching algorithm is not knowing open. Sorry, there was a delay, but I guess I'm audible, right?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay, so at Hopscotch, where we really wanted to make the source code free and open for everyone, so that there will be room for improvement. And for such projects, you do have to make it open source. And this comes with a threat that on a Monday morning you will be having a alternative which has a different name at the same product. This is something that me or you or anyone can put a lid on it, but the community part, you can copy the code, but you can't copy the community behind it. You can't copy this 25,000 users using hopscotch to another product which has a different name or anything like that. So that's the strongest point for an open source project if it has anything to offer. Yeah, I guess I answered that question.
Uh, hey, Liyas, so forgot to mention this. Congratulations on the GitHub open source ban. That's a big thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I mean, it's something that really excites me. I mean, so GitHub made this grant only exclusive for India. There are like 32 other countries GitHub operates, but they only did it at India. I mean, it's a first, but that really motivates me, not just me, but everyone from India to keep on working on open source projects because it has a future. And I guess as far as GitHub is concerned, India is one of its major markets, so it really makes sense. And thank you, by the way.
Thanks, Liyas. So, do you think, do you want to uh, pick up your words about?
Uh, so I'm pretty much available in uh, social network like Twitter and LinkedIn. I'm not active in Facebook or Instagram, but you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn or Twitter. Both handles are at Liyas Thomas, and I will be, pretty much every time online on GitHub. So do follow me on it, and you can mail me. My email ID is hi@liyasthomas.com.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Bharat had a follow-up question there.
Yeah, I was just looking at it. So got it. So Bharat, I really thought what might be a alternative to hopscotch rather than thinking about something like this. But okay, so let me see. Uh, I would say for anyone who would like to contribute to any open source project, obviously there are lakhs and like tons of open source projects out there which you can contribute to. But finding a quality project or something that has an impact is actually a tough task. So I would say you can really use the GitHub search and filter option for this, from where you can literally select issues which has the I mean it can be filtered with a lot of stuff. You can select its experience like good first issues or beginner friendly. That kind of labels really helps. And there is also this sort option in the very search page that will allows you to sort by the, I mean, the default one is by relevance, but if you sort it by the latest usage, you can actually see the active projects that's being maintained. So I would say, I mean, I don't have a list of projects. I'm totally, really into fun and only thing, hopscotch. But obviously, there will be a lot of projects that keep on maintaining and has an impact. So GitHub search is your best friend on that part.
Thanks again. Yes, so it's time to wrap this up. So again, congratulations and keep on doing this, keep inspiring us, and keep being there for us. Like when we reach out to you, you have always been, there for us, for me to reach out and get advice from. So yeah, continue to inspire us. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I would love to, get in touch with all of you. Do you expect me? I mean, I will be hanging out on your Discord link. It's really sounds cool. And do let me know if you face any issues, what can be improved on Hopscotch, and would love to get feedbacks on it. And just hoping on
Sure.
a call if you are any doubts. Love to answer all this. Yeah.
Thank you.
Eh, Thank you, thank
Thank
you.
you, Liyas.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.